Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day from wherever you are around the world. Hopefully, everyone's having a fantastic Thursday wherever you are around the world. And welcome back to another news episode for you guys this evening. Of course, again, I was going to say something else then, but again, welcome back. If anyone is tuning back in from the last couple of days as well, because it has been crazy the last few days on the channel as well. Anyway, but just let me know how you are, guys, as well. But of course, we do have obviously some breaking news as of right now. As of course, when we've come on tonight, obviously, we're going to be talking about obviously the situation between the linesman and Andy Robertson. The FA has come out and said, the punishment, or again, the lack of punishment that has been issued out to the referee. We're also, of course, going to be talking about Alexis McAllister as well. Rumours and suggestions today that he will leave Brighton at the end of the season. And of course, it does look like he will be leaving very early on in the season. But of course, we'll be speaking about that and more about that during the video as well. Of course, we're going to be talking about Nico Barella as well. And of course, we're going to be speaking a bit more of what we spoke about in yesterday's video as well. But of course, we're going to top up on everything Nico Barella. We're going to talk about Mason Mount as well. And of course, news today coming out about him. And of course, we're going to talk about a Liverpool old target, but has come out yesterday saying that Tuchemeni is a potential target for Liverpool as well in the summer as well. But again, who isn't a target at the moment for Liverpool Football Club as well, obviously, anyway. But guys, let me know all of you are as well. If anyone's new to the channel as well, please feel free to leave a like, hit that subscribe button as well. We are on the road to 1K, and if we can get there before the end of the season, it will be very much appreciated. I can't speak tonight, chat. But yeah, it would be very much appreciated as always. And again, if we can get to 1K before the end of the season, again, it'd be very much appreciated as well. And of course, please hit that like button, please hit that share button as well. And yeah, if there are any, if you have any thoughts, have any opinions on all of the stories that we do bring in tonight's episode, then please do let me know in the comment section down below as well. Anyway, but of course, we will get to the breaking news, and that is, of course, the punishment for the linesman, or the lack of punishment, I should say, that has been issued out to the linesman for elbowing Andy Robertson, or accidentally elbowing Andy Robertson. Anyway, the FA have just come out. Obviously, Paul Joyce has said the FA have taken no further action against reviewing all the evidence in relation to the incident at Anfield involving the Liverpool defender Andy Robertson and match official Constantine. I don't even want to pronounce his last name. Anyway, but for me, chat, are we surprised anymore? Again, I think it's an absolute joke. And look, it is a reaction. And don't get me wrong, it's a human reaction. But if this was the other way round, in my personal opinion, I think Andy Robertson would be in serious trouble for the rest of the season. I think if it was the other way around, we've known and we've seen how the likes of Mitrovic has been spoken about, Bruno Fernandes, how he got spoken about. Of course, nothing happened in that incident in particular, but especially Mitrovic. Of course, that scenario. Of course, I think Mitrovic has now got an 8-game ban in that regard as well. I could be wrong in that sense of things, but still, we speak enough, and rightfully so, about players' attitude towards the referees. But I think when something like this happens, and it was always going to happen, it's easy to turn around and go, oh, this was never going to happen, this, that, and the other. Of course it was going to happen. Look, at the end of the day, I think, quite honestly, like, it's been a long time coming that something would happen like this. And again, I feel like you have to punish both sides, and that is referees and players. You look at Mitrovic got, thank you, Brian and chat as well, for letting me know, 8 games. Like, Mitrovic got dealt with an 8-game ban, and rightfully so. I feel like, again, this is something that where this referee should not referee or officiate again for this season. you saw how unprofessional he was towards the end part of the first half in that incident. For me, I think the punishment is of course it's extremely light. Well, I say extremely light. Of course, he hasn't got anything in that regard as again, but I feel like it's a classic FA scenario where again something happens when the referees are at fault, no punishment whatsoever. If it was a player, and as we've already seen, you're talking 6, 7, 8 game ban in that regard as well. It's not a two-way street in those instances as well. So, and again, I haven't seen like if there's been any other quotes as well from the official, or even Liverpool themselves as well. I haven't seen if there's been any sort of word from them. So again, though, I do think it is just once again the FA covering their own back, and once again getting being light of the situation as well. In my personal opinion, anyway. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts as well, because I feel like it isn't very equal in terms of if a player had done the same thing of what the official did, then again Andy Robertson would be in serious trouble and probably banned for the rest of the season. In that case as well. But let me know your guys' thoughts anyway, of course, on that breaking news anyway, because again, I want to know your guys' thoughts on everything that we do talk about in tonight's show as well. But let me quickly scroll all the way back up to the chat because I haven't spoken to you guys yet anyway. But Talio Albeen as well. Hello, Gary. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day. Hi, Connor as well, says Brian. Big up chat, big up Connor as well. Hello, Doug. Even Brian. Andrew's as well, saying even Connor. Hello, Andrew. Hopefully you're on a fantastic day as well, mate. Obviously that's Doug link in the chat. Thank you, Mark, for that. How is everyone doing? That linesman needs banning. Absolutely agree. 1000%. Again, I still don't get how he hasn't. I don't get how something hasn't happened. In terms of him getting a ban. Anyway, I should say. Anyway, but hi, Brian. Hope you are well. Let me quickly scroll back down. Daryl, I think you're new around here as well. Thank you very much for popping in, mate. Saying we have no money, won't buy. No one. Klopp will walk in the summer. Again, that's the hope and dream, though, isn't it, mate? Is in terms of the fact that we've got this war chest available. Yeah, of course, we'll speak about it a bit later on, more towards the Mason Mount scenario as well. But of course, we're going to talk all in detail. But thank you very much for coming in as well, mate. If you're a new subscriber as well, very much appreciated. Not bad, Marco. I hope you are well too. What else do we have? We will see what happens next window as well. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? As well. I was going to talk about Marnie. I can see a couple of you guys in the chat right now is going on about it. We'll talk about it lightly in a minute, because I think, look, it's a weird one, isn't it? Okay, thanks, says Mark. Obviously, Tom's in as well. Great quiz, Tom lad, as well. Yeah, I still think Tom was wrong on a few questions, though. Secretly looked up. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. But no, it was a great quiz as well. The kit like sponsorships, apart from like 2 of them, I didn't know any other questions. I should really watch my Premier League years. Really, with 8 games as well. Yeah, it is, again, I think the referee should be banned as well in that regard. I thought they would both be in trouble. 8-match ban for Robbo, and linesman sacked as well. I think a ban for the official. I think the official shouldn't referee again this season. Like, just taking out the spotlight, don't really matter about it. I can't really see where Robbo did anything wrong in that regard. Because again, Robbo's trying to grab his attention, and then the referee acts like that. Again, it's not like a malicious elbow that he's just like fully gone on and whacked him one, but he shouldn't be reacting like that. Then I should say anyway. What else do we have? I think Gary saying McAllister will be a cracking addition to Liverpool. Also, we'll speak about Alexis McAllister in a moment as well, because I know plenty of you guys will be excited on that as well. Hi, Gary, as well. Yes, lad. Hello, Ricky. Hopefully you're on a fantastic night, my friend, as well. They have some previous to Robbo and that set of officials as well. Oh, I didn't know that, but again, I think that's it. Obviously, we know with the referee, especially, like he's an absolute. Again, I don't want to swear, but he's an absolute. You know what I'm trying to say. I don't really want to say it on camera. He's an idiot. Then let's just say that like that. Evening, Luke. I enjoyed the quiz as well. Obviously, it's Ricky that as well. Hi to Luke or Ricky. Hope all in chat as well. Yeah, hopefully everyone's having a fantastic day as well. Again, so let me know how your day's been, chat as well. Hello, Ricky, as well. What else do we have? Daryl saying hi to me. Hello, Daryl. Hi, Ricky. Mark saying, "What about Marnie in trouble?" Yeah, I have seen it, and I haven't seen the damage to Leroy Sané. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen obviously on Sky Sports News that they were talking about, oh, he's covering up the injury and blah blah blah. Again, the only time I've seen Mane get that level of frustrated was probably that Burnley game back, what, 4 or 5 years ago now. Yeah, for me, I think it was just I think Mane's first season hasn't gone well at Bayern, and Bayern season in itself hasn't been great. I do think though that again, I do think that personally they're not playing to Mane's strengths in that instance. And again, at the moment, you're having a managerial change as well in Thomas Tuchel. Again, like for me, Mane, his best position is probably either on the left or at centre forward. And of course, at the moment, they're either playing Musiala on that left hand side or they're playing Chouamoping in the middle. So. And of course, Mane's only now just coming back from that serious knee injury, probably the first big injury he's had since 2016, probably when it was his knee that time as well. So again, I think it's a mixture of things. But again, him getting banned for one game or suspended for one game, I should say, it's probably for the best in that way because he can't be doing what allegedly he's done anyway in that regard. Can I join bro as well? Maybe in another video, Jordan as well. But thank you very much for coming in, mate. Would love Marnie back. Yeah, I think all of us would. I think, but again, how much is Sadio Mane going for? I saw a couple of people on Twitter was like, "Oh yeah, we could try and get Sadio Mane for 10 million euros," and I was like, "There's no chance that Bayern Munich are just going to go, oh yeah, there's 10 million." Even though we did get, what was it, 35 for him the year before. So again, I'm not entirely sure. Robo still grabbed the ref. For me, he's tried to get his attention. That's what I would say anyway. But again, it does work both ways. But I think just the official's reaction to it, I personally think was wrong. Anyway, but he won't be running the line at Anfield again anytime soon. No, absolutely. Doug, I've seen that joke. I've seen it on your Twitter. FIFA must delegate the ref. I think we need, and the FA must delegate the ref team as well. Yeah, absolutely. It really hasn't gone well for Mane so far. A lot of miles on his clock too. Yeah, exactly. He's been running to the ground, hasn't he? Over the last couple of years at Liverpool, and again, it catches up to you. That's the thing even when we speak about this group of players for Liverpool, it's caught up to everyone, hasn't it? In terms of the fatigue and just going again and this, that, and the other. It's been really frustrating in that regard as well. I want us to sign Thuram. He's class well. Do you mean the Nice sentiment? Again, obviously there was something on him earlier on, but again, I think they were talking around 60 million euros now for him, which again, I think that puts him out of the price tag for Liverpool, especially on what particularly we could do anyway in the summer with other players as well anyway. But we will move on. And we are, of course, going to be talking about Alexis McAllister. Obviously, news has come out today in terms of Fabrizio Romano saying that Alexis McAllister is expected to leave early this summer three clubs are in the race: Liverpool, Chelsea, and Manchester United. These clubs have approached the players' camp to discuss the project. Now, Alexis McAllister's dad as well, Carlos McAllister, has said as well that we are just starting talks in general. But the most likely Alexis will be playing for another team in July. Now, what I personally think about this is the fact that Liverpool, we know the fact that Jurgen Klopp likes to get players in the door, as early as possible. We know, but I think for me, it all comes down to price tag, and I think at the moment, Brighton are very much only now coming together and going, right, how much is he going to go for? Of course, that valuation of £61 million was being thrown around last week, in terms of his valuation. And again, for a quality player like that, I think, look, it's probably a decent price for a midfielder these days. You're looking quite easily over 50 million for him, 100%. But in terms of, obviously, with the race being Liverpool, Chelsea, and Manchester United, I think at the moment it's most likely between Liverpool and Manchester United, because we know for a fact Chelsea need to sell players this summer. Look at, and of course we're going to talk about Mason Mount in due course, but we know Chelsea, they need to sell players before they can think about buying anyone this summer as well. And again, Liverpool do not want a bidding war. That's the obvious thing that we don't want. Liverpool will try and get the business done and dusted nice and early. And of course, Jurgen Klopp spoke about a couple of weeks ago, didn't he, about Liverpool having positive talks with players. So again, could it potentially be that Liverpool are trying to get the McAllister deal done now, and announce it obviously at the end of the season, and then just go from there potentially? But again, it won't be just a quick done and dusted type scenario. Again, it's all going to come down to price tag, and it is definitely going to come down to, again, can we convince McAllister to join Liverpool when realistically Brighton might be in a better position at the moment. And of course, Manchester United are probably in a better position on the face of things. But again, it just depends on why, can Liverpool convince, the McAllister camp to make the decision to join Liverpool. I think that's the most important thing as well. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments as well, and let me know, do you think Alexis McAllister will join Liverpool at the end of the season as well? For me, I think if Liverpool can get the price to, if Liverpool can get 55 million, 60 million, somewhere around there, again, I think it'd be a perfect signing for Liverpool. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts as well, because again, I know plenty of people go, oh, nobody knew what he was until after the World Cup, and that's true. I think in many sense as well, because for me, I didn't expect him to be, for Argentina. You could see that he did the miles, he works hard, can get in the game, if that makes sense, get into the nitty gritty side of things. And that's what you want from a Liverpool type midfielder, because again, we've said for the last 2 years, the fact that we've been missing a midfielder to be like what he was in 2019, 2018, in terms of getting into the game, being the athletic type midfield that we've all known and love. And again, we haven't had that for the last year, I'd say anyway. But let me know your guys' thoughts, Alexis McAllister, as well anyway. But let me quickly scroll up on the chat anyway, because again, I go to click someone and it just all goes straight down as well. What else do we have? Moxing, can we just ban Doug? Lol, his dad jokes need work. Doug, you're on a warning. Did you see the Melissa Reddy story today about the recruitment team wanting midfield 2 years ago, coming out against long-term contracts for etc. Henderson? I did see this, Bri. I haven't read it all. I just scanned over it and seen a few odds and ends and that. But yeah, I did see that the recruitment team did want it 2 years ago, and as we've quite clearly seen, we haven't had anything in that regard as well. But who knew McAllister before the World Cup? I think we knew of him, but didn't know how good he actually was before the World Cup. But like I said, you didn't see the I think you saw a different side of McAllister in that Argentina team that has made him, the well-known person, like in terms of what he can do in a team. Because again, Brighton, he plays in that 10 role. I think for Liverpool, obviously, he will be playing the advanced number 8. But again, he did that for Argentina in the World Cup, so it works out in that way anyway. But I've seen every fan channel call Alexis the number 1 target. I wouldn't call him that yet, because again, there's about 5 or 6 players that you could say is the number 1 target. In that regard, I think even still, you could say potentially Liverpool is still in for Jude Bellingham, if you wanted to talk about it in that way, as well. Obviously, with the news coming out that Dortmund want 160 for him, like that's ridiculous, by the way. But again, not talking Jude Bellingham tonight. It will be a bidding war, and we will drop out. That's the only worry I think on everyone's mind, Jungle. Yeah, it is the fact it's a bidding war again. And we know Liverpool don't want to again bid, fight with anyone for a bidding war, because again, we know Liverpool have some sort of tactic now that I think we're willing to spend 60 million on probably 3 midfielders in that regard. Like again, obviously yesterday, I think Neil Jones, and we're going to speak about Barella in a moment, but again, Caicedo, McAllister, Barella, that conversation was yesterday. Again, if Liverpool are, that serious to go after him, again, you're going to think that he's going to be around 100 million, and then you just ask yourself, it's like, why don't Liverpool go and pay 160 million now for Jude Bellingham in that regard anyway? But yeah, I still think that is probably a midfielder that hasn't got linked, hasn't really been spoken about on the Liverpool side of things, that Liverpool are really looking at. I think for one, Manuel Ugarte hasn't really been spoken about, but by Liverpool journos, and I think again that might be for a particular reason. For me, I'd love Ugarte at Liverpool. Again, I think Liverpool can get him for around 35, 40 million, and again, 22 years of age. He's only just turned, so again, got the future ahead of him in that regard as well. Anyway, but yeah, 100%. Justin saying, Brian, I saw that that was why Edwards walked. Could potentially be as well. Yeah, 100%. Justin as well. Don't really want Mount, says Mark. Yeah, I think a couple of them will be in that bracket as well. Waiting for the Holy Grail player. Yeah, Jude Bellingham. In that regard, let's see what happens. Absolutely. We'll see if FSG step up. That's the hope, isn't it, for everyone? I think at the moment, in terms of can and will FSG, will the board step up this summer and give Jurgen Klopp what he wants and what he deserves? Realistically, I'm not entirely sure. But 6 transfer windows wasted. Yeah, absolutely. Who will be the captain next season? Jordan Henderson. Daryl, if I'm being honest, it will be Mohamed Salah. Would give it to Robbo, says Mark. Yeah, I could see that. Again, I think Liverpool will have that question again of when Jordan Henderson does leave Liverpool, who will be the next Liverpool captain? Because I think to really ask, who might be the next vice captain for Liverpool, because if James Milner doesn't sign that new deal or isn't given a new deal, then who's going to be the next vice captain in that regard anyway. I think Salah will be sold too as well. If I'm being honest, I think Salah leaves on a free. I think Liverpool would rather him leave on a free than get rid of him, because I think the quality is still there from Mo. I think anyway, but still, we'll have that conversation again next season, towards the back end of next season. Like, Mo's going to be leaving in a year's time, blah blah blah, and then there'll be that debate then of, should we give Mo Salah a new contract or sell him for something? Again, it's gonna be like that roller coaster again of what happens with Mo. as well. But yeah, no, absolutely. Can see why people think that. But again, I would keep Mo 100%. Barella would be great as well. Yeah, I think obviously in that Thiago role, I think he'd be perfect. No wonder we do seller deals the price below it all out of proportion as well. Well, you look at the market, you look at the Jude Bellingham scenario now. David Ornstein spoke about it. You know, he said he thinks now that uh, Jude will stay at Dortmund for another year, and that might be the plan. You know, and again, this is just obviously clinching to hope. But Liverpool might get themselves sorted for next season. Try and again qualify for Champions League next season. We'll get back into the Champions League. Obviously, there's still a potential hope this season, but it's a 10% chance probably, chat. In terms of where he does go in that regard as well, or where Liverpool finish. But yeah, if Liverpool can get themselves sorted, get a base in the midfield for the next 12 months, and then we're going to have the same conversation of Jude Bellingham, but most likely we'll have the conversation of who pays the release clause for Jude Bellingham. That's the conversation I think will happen now for next season. I don't think anyone's going to be paying 160, 170 million euros for Jude Bellingham. Personally, I don't think that. I think Dortmund know that as well. I think they are saying that, look, we have no reason to sell Jude Bellingham. He still has 2-3 years left in his contract. 19 years of age, has the future ahead of him. Future captain of the club if he stayed. And look, we can give him all this, and then you lot can fight it out next year for him as well. That's what I think might happen in that regard. But I think potentially Liverpool might again sort the problems out for the next season. Obviously, if things go the way Liverpool want them to go, maybe it might be Liverpool get their act together, and then we'll have a look then next year and go again on whether or not Liverpool get Jude Bellingham. Again, that's the hopeful dream of it, but again, the unlikely destination to happen anyway. Do we need a Bobby replacement, or is it that Gakpo? In my opinion, no. I don't think we need a replacement for Bobby Firmino. I think we already have him. Will Darwin get Bobby's number? Yes, in my opinion, I think Darwin will get number 9 next season. Thiago won't go. No, won't go. No chance. Game changer. No, he won't go anyway. Thiago will be around, but I think again Barella. Thiago is only available for 20 games a season. If you look at this season in particular, but those 20 games he's brilliant in. That's the realistic scenario when it comes to someone like Thiago. And I think, look, we'll speak about Barella in a moment, but Barella for me, he would be in that bracket of S tier signings from what I've seen of him, and that is from the Euros and obviously watching a bit of Inter Milan in the Champions League. Again, not watching them week in, week out, but what I have seen of him, been impressed by. Anyway, but this summer's recruitment hopefully must be on point. Klopp must ensure the team gets a good start, otherwise by December, if the same mess continues, he won't survive after sacrificing this season as well. Yeah, Justin, absolutely. I think, look, this summer has to be perfect for Liverpool, and going into next season, it has to be perfect as well. We can't, like you say, we can't be down in 10th or 11th at the start of next season and having the same problems, week in, week out. It has to be Liverpool have to be firing again next summer. And that's the hopeful dream, isn't it? And I think that's what people, obviously this season's been shite. It has been. But if we can just build again for next season, I think people are relatively okay with that, I think, anyway. But what else we have? Can we see Klopp walking before he's pushed through? No, not in my opinion. Not at the moment, anyway. I think next season, potentially, there might be something there anyway. But just to go over a little bit as well from yesterday's video. Anyway, of course, we're going to speak about Nicolai Barella as well, of course, Inter Milan's Italian midfielder. Of course, Neil Jones coming out and saying that, obviously, Alexis McAllister, Moises Caicedo, and Barella certainly, obviously the links have certainly some substance to them. I couldn't really talk them, but yeah, they do have substance to them. And Melissa Reddy also confirming that Inter Milan have reportedly been priced at 50 million. Or pricing Barella for £50 million. I think yesterday I said 50 million euros, but yes, £50 million. That is that Barella is available for in the summer. Which again, like we said, if Liverpool are looking at three midfielders for 50 million or 50 million plus, I think obviously Barella would be a perfect signing in that regard. Of course, 26 years of age, plenty of experience. Look, a Serie A winner, Champions League experience. Full-grown international with Italy. Not sure how many caps Barella does have, but like I said, I think maybe in that Thiago role, or even on the right-hand side, I think Barella could be something amazing for Liverpool. But again, and I know Jack would be absolutely loving if Barella comes to Liverpool. But again, I feel like with Inter, it's one way or the other. Either they're not going to be willing to sell because Barella is their best player, or because the financial troubles at Inter Milan, they are going to sell, but probably at a higher price, or try and gain the most amount from him anyway. For me, I think, look, if we can get him for £50 million, I think it'd be a great signing. But it's like I said on yesterday's video, whenever I think of Italy and midfielders, I always go back to Aquilani, and how excited I was for Aquilani as a kid. But obviously, watching him, and then obviously we knew what happened with Alberto Aquilani. It wasn't great, was it, in that regard as well? But let me know your guys' thoughts as well. Would you like to see Liverpool sign Nicolai Barella from Inter Milan? Again, would be an interesting signing, but again, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below as well. But again, chat, like, would we want Barella at Liverpool as well? Because again, right, we mentioned this yesterday as well. If you could bring in three players right here, right now, doesn't matter the price. Obviously, keep it within range. Don't go Jude Bellingham, Barella, and whatever. But if you could sign a realistic three for Liverpool right now, what would it be? For me, if Saicedo isn't available or is outpriced, Yagate, McAllister, Barella, that would be my perfect midfield three to come in. I think that would be a really good midfield for Liverpool. But again, I know plenty of people will have different thoughts and different opinions on that as well. And then go for Jude Bellingham next season. As a chat as well. But yeah, no, I think without a doubt, I think potentially those three would be a nice three to bring in as well. But the whole Darwin is pure chaos thing is great fun and all, but he needs to improve his finishing next year and be more clinical. Yeah, in some sense, Bray. Again, though, Darwin does do. He is better in his second season. It was proved in Spain. It was proved in Benfica as well. Again, I'm more than confident that Jude Bellingham, not Jude Bellingham, that Darwin Núñez will be amazing next season, 100%, in my opinion anyway. But 50, 60 million seems to be our ceiling price, but Barella would be a disaster. Would be a disaster, says Brian. Wow. Let me know, Brian, why do you think Barella would be a disaster as well? But Rice still maybe on the cards as well. I think Rice is going to go Arsenal. Too posh for them as well. No, yeah, I think for me, I think Declan Rice is going to go to Arsenal. I don't think he wants to leave London, if I'm being perfectly honest. If Chelsea don't come in for him, I think Arsenal will 100% snap him up as well. Because Italian players do not like living in England, especially the north of England as well. Too posh for them as well. Yeah, absolutely. A good DM shout could be Florentino Luis from Benfica, along with Just from just a centre back from Sporting. Teams are sleeping on these two excellent players and very priced as realistic. I like the shout of Florentino Luis as what I've seen people do profiles on him and what his statistics say. But St. Jude, I don't know much about him. I haven't watched him realistically. But for me, again, I'd love Ugarte. If we're talking from the Portuguese league anyway, Ugarte, I'd absolutely love. 1000%. Saicedo, Gravenberch, and Nunes maybe. Nunes, I don't think's in the race anymore, if I'm being honest. But wouldn't mind that three, as long as it's not Conor Gallagher. I think all of us are pretty much happy chat in that regard as well. But never buy Italians. Golden rule in transfers as well, says Brian. Yeah, I can 100% see that. Of course, the last Liverpool signing, well, Italian signing that we made, of course, was Mario Balotelli, which, again, look how fun that was in that regard as well. But Alberto Aquilani or Fabio Barini next, Mario Balotelli as well. Yeah, not been a great thing, has it, in terms of Italians and Liverpool Football Club anyway. But we will move on from Nicolai Barella anyway. And of course, I know a couple people in the chat won't be optimistic to speak about this man, of course. Mason Mount, obviously, has been linked and rumoured to Liverpool all summer long, or all season long. Obviously, because he is out of contract in a year's time. Fabrizio Romano yesterday coming out and saying that Mason Mount remains one of the main targets for Liverpool since February in case he's going to be available on the market. It depends on Chelsea. Mount talks over a new contract. Currently on standby, no agreement at this time. But today, Graham Bailey, obviously speaking on a podcast, saying Chelsea have renewed a sense of optimism that Mason Mount will sign a new deal to stay at the club, which comes as a blow to Liverpool, who have made the midfielder their primary target, which again isn't great when that comes out. Also, Goal as well reporting on the same thing, saying that Chelsea is said to be increasingly confident that Mason Mount will sign a new deal thanks to their elite level manager search, which of course we all know for a fact it's either going to be between Luis Enrique or Julian Nagelsmann. Again, whether or not I think they go after Nagelsmann, if I'm being perfectly honest, but I think this tweet summed it up perfectly for Liverpool. Again, obviously you can just tell what's going to happen. Mount signs a new deal. We go to Brighton. We ask for 100 million for Saicedo, and we turn away. McAllister goes elsewhere. We try and go back for Bellingham, but he signed for Madrid. We're left with Gallagher, who's bottom of our list. That's the big worry for me. And it is a huge worry for me, that, because again, if Mason Mount is our primary target, we've known all along that, again, he wants to stay at Chelsea. We know that for a fact. He's a Chelsea boy through and through. But the fact that Liverpool are in the sense of making him the number one target and Jurgen Klopp is number one in terms of that for me leaves me worried. And again, Liverpool have to be quick in the regard towards the transfers. Like we've spoken about Alexis McAllister. For me right now, if you're going to go which one is the primary target, for me, I would 100% go after Alexis McAllister over Mason Mount, in my personal opinion. But again, someone might say that, look, I want Mount over McAllister, and that's fair enough. But for me, I think Liverpool should try and put all their eggs in the McAllister basket, because I think Mason Mount for me would cost too much. Again, because Chelsea are looking around, if they are going to get rid of him, are talking that £70 million mark, which again is absolutely ludicrous. For me personally, I do not think Mason Mount is worth anywhere near that. Probably you're looking around 40 million, especially with someone that has 1 year left on their contract as well. Again, I know people will go, oh, he's Chelsea, English, you're looking around that mark. For me, Chelsea are way off in their valuation. He's at least 40 million at a maximum, and that is it. I don't think Chelsea can ask for much more than that. But for me personally, I would go with McAllister if Liverpool were given the choice. But in the sense of, again, to go over again, Graham Bailey saying that Chelsea have renewed this sense of optimism. Obviously, with Frank Lampard there at the moment as well, of course. Again, Mason Mount was the number one player under Frank Lampard at Chelsea as well. So again, there might be something in that. But again, it's going to be an interesting, because I think Liverpool won't wait around either to go, oh, Mason Mount's going to decide during the summer, what's going to happen. No, Liverpool will move away and probably go for McAllister and try and go elsewhere as well. But let me know your guys' thoughts on the Mason Mount scenario as well. For me personally, like I said, McAllister, I'd rather go after McAllister than Mason Mount personally, because again, I think Liverpool can, again, McAllister might be around that £60 million mark. But again, I think McAllister is probably more versatile than Mason Mount as well in many ways. So again, I think there's plenty of different formations you could potentially do with McAllister. Same with Mason Mount, but I feel like McAllister would be better for Liverpool than Mason Mount, if I'm being perfectly honest, in my personal opinion. Anyway, but let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Jack's in as well. Hello, Jack. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day as well, my friend. Let me quickly check something, guys. We are on. What are we on for tonight's stream? We're on 17 likes. Yeah, if we can get to 20, then again, we very much appreciate it as always. As well, Zola and Decania, the only real success stories as well. Yeah, in terms of like legacy, yeah, absolutely. No, we'll talk about Jorginho and Jorginho's penalties. Run those likes up chat as well. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Jack's thinking twice. Evening, Jack. Jack with the spam, for God's sake. That's why I was seeing Brian mention it in the chat. Evening, chat. I hope you're all well. What else do we have? Mark saying wife spamming Jack as well. Obviously 1882 saying 50 away corner, big up everyone and smash the likes. Well, yeah, if you could, very much appreciate it. If anyone's new around here as well, please do hit that share button as well. Of course, we are trying to get to a K before the end of the season. That's been the goal for this year. And again, hopefully we can get there before the end of the season as well. But again, if you like the content, then please hit that subscribe button as well. Again, obviously, make sure you check out the shorts and all that good stuff as well. Anyway, but yeah, should be 20 likes minimum. Absolutely. Being an international hikes his money up, even if it's an English one as well. Yeah, but for me, as Brian said, but there, Mark, 40 million max. I absolutely agree in that aspect of things. I think that at the minimum, sorry, at the maximum, he should be 40 million. That's it. If Chelsea wants 70 million, they're going to be, again, the only team I think that's dumb enough to pay 70 million for Mason Mount is Manchester United. That's the only team I can see them going, oh yeah, we're going to buy Mason Mount for 70 million. That's the only team I can see genuinely coughing up that much money. Mount would be fine as a third midfield choice, but he's not worth getting involved in big drama over as well. Yeah, absolutely agree. Pushing Trent up would reduce midfield by, but then you got to buy a right back then, Mark, as well. That's the thing. You either go and buy another midfielder, or you go and buy a right back in that regard as well. But again, it does depend as well whether or not Liverpool are trying to stick with that formation now with Trent more in the midfield than out wide, then if that makes sense. Be interesting anyway. But we're on the way to 20, but Doug got the dad jokes out lol as well. Absolutely. Agree, Brian, as well. And Ramsey was a replacement right back. True, but again, I think Ramsey, he's going to need another season to gel into the team. Again, he's been injured for most of the season. I think he's only been available for 2 months of the season. And then again, that's realistically the problem when it comes to Ramsey so far this season as well. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts anyway. Brian saying a lot of eights being linked. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Ramsey, does he exist somewhere in the universe anyway? But obviously, with Brian mentioning Liverpool being linked with a lot of six, obviously today and yesterday, we're going to talk now about number 6, and that is a number 6 that has already been linked with Liverpool, of course, last season and last summer, of course, to Tchouaméni leaving Monaco to join Real Madrid. But Dave Maddock has had his say on, of course, everything that happened, including obviously the situation with Jude Bellingham, and he did go on to say this as well about the Tchouaméni situation, saying Klopp will attempt to resort his interest in Erwani Tchouaméni, who has never really settled in Madrid and is not an automatic choice as he sits behind Camavinga in the pecking order. If the Bernabeu bosses are prepared to sanction a deal, it would take at least the fee of 100 million euros they paid last summer, which again, are Liverpool really going to go after Tchouaméni again? Like again, 100 million euros, which is around what, 85 million pounds. Again, I don't think Liverpool are going to be doing that, and I don't think Real Madrid would realistically put up with that either. But again, in terms of Tchouaméni, I like Tchouaméni as a player. Obviously, we did a bit of research about him last summer, and of course, ticked all the boxes for Liverpool. Can play as an 8, can play as a 6. Most likely a 6, but just as everything what Liverpool would be after. And of course, again, with the old guards, slowly, going out, obviously with Modric and Cruz potentially retiring in the next season or two. Again, Madrid have one hell of a midfield. Again, Valverde, Camavinga, Tchouaméni. Is there anyone else I'm thinking of? Again, I'm not entirely sure, but again, it's a ridiculous amount of midfielders that they have. Again, it's consistent that they're getting better season upon season. But yeah, for me, do I think Liverpool are backing for Tchouaméni? No, I don't. I don't think Liverpool are back for Tchouaméni. But again, I'd like to see it. But again, it's very unlikely. Liverpool are going to go back in for Tchouaméni. Us pulling out of Jude overpriced makes all these £100 million bid stories look a bit silly. Yeah, absolutely. But again, I think Liverpool would be prepared to pay for someone for 100 million. The problem is I don't think Liverpool are prepared to pay 160 million for someone. That's the other thing with Jude Bellingham, because David Ornstein came out tonight and was like, yeah, Dortmund want between 150 and 160 for Jude Bellingham. I don't think anyone's going to be paying that. I don't think Madrid are going to pay that. I don't see United paying it. I don't see Man City paying it as well. I don't see Jude Bellingham wanting to go to Man City. I think it's still between Liverpool and Real Madrid. I'm still holding out hope in that regard. But for me, it is still between Liverpool and Madrid. And when that release clause, if he does stay at Dortmund, if that is the case, that there will be a new release clause, again, that will open up a can of worms again on who gets him in that regard, and how much will it be for. That's the real interesting one anyway. But Ramsey is Scottish international, so shouldn't be that bad as well. Yeah, not bad. Again, I think the data around Ramsey was good. That's why Liverpool, bought him for, like, what was it, 5 million, something like that, 5-6 million. So yeah, 100%. I think, quite honestly, Liverpool are confident in him. But again, he is one for the future, and not for one, right here, right now, in that regard either. Anyway, not often we buy a name player, we make them stars. Yeah, absolutely. He's a future prospect. How many minutes for Scotland? I'm not entirely sure on that, but again, Mark, let us know in the comment section down below. Anyway, but of course, we're going to run back through all of the news if anyone has just tuned in anyway. Let me quickly go back up. Of course, we've spoken about the linesman and Andy Robertson. Obviously, the FA have declared there will be no punishment needed for the linesman after the incident that happened between the linesman and Andy Robertson, which again, we've had our thoughts and opinions on that. At the start of the show, of course, we've spoken about Alexis McAllister as well. Speaking about the fact that Liverpool, Chelsea, and Manchester United are all in the race to sign him, and of course Fabrizio Romano saying that that Alexis McAllister will leave Brighton, as early this summer as well. So again, he might leave straight after the season's ended as well. So it'll be very interesting to see. McAllister's dad as well, and of course his agent, saying that obviously they've just started talks with other clubs as well, saying that Alexis most likely will be playing for another team in July. As well, which again is very interesting. But of course, we've spoken about Barella as well. And obviously, we've spoken about in particular, obviously, Inter Milan pouring that £50 million price tag on Barella. I've spoken about Mason Mount as well, and of course, Chelsea now optimistic in terms of getting a new deal done for Mason Mount. Of course, that's come from Graham Bailey, but again, also coming from Goal as well, saying that Mason Mount, Chelsea are confident in getting him. Getting his signature done for this season as well. And of course, we've spoken about Tuchemeni and Dave Maddox's point of view in terms of Liverpool potentially might be going back in for Tuchemeni. But again, like I said just now, for me, I don't think that will happen in that regard as well anyway. But again, guys, let me know your guys' thoughts on everything that we have spoken about in tonight's show. I'm going to quickly check. We're on 18 likes, guys. If we can get to 20, be very much appreciated. But I couldn't talk then. But yeah, we could hit that before we do head off. Be very much appreciated as always. What else do we have? He's not ready to replace Trent next season. No, Ramsey will need at least one more season or 2 more seasons for that to eventually happen. How long had Doak had until we played him? A couple of months. What was it? It was like 3-4 months. I think before he got into the main team, 2 different players. Yeah, absolutely. United 2 Sevilla 2. They were 2-0 up as well. United bottling it. You'll have to see it. But we still need to give him a chance. True, but again, injured, isn't he, at the moment? To be fair, but giving him a chance and putting him in the first team to replace Trent are 2 very different things, Mark. Yeah, but again, I think if Ramsey was fit, you could potentially, for the rest of the season, go there. You go and experiment because again, Liverpool, I would think now are not getting Champions League football. But again, like, is it still possible Liverpool can get Champions League football? Yes. Is it most likely to happen? No. So again, Liverpool might experiment now for the rest of the season, but I think Ramsey, you're going to need another year to just see how he is and see how he gets, involved in of course, in training and in pre-season, and see how all of that goes. Anyway, in my opinion. Anyway, but guys, we are going to leave it there for tonight. Anyway, big thank you to all of you guys for tuning in to tonight's show. Anyway, of course, tomorrow is Friday, so we'll be live with a match preview for Leeds for Monday night's game as well. Of course, obviously make sure you check out for the shorts as well, because again, Jurgen Klopp's press conference will be tomorrow, which of course you guarantee and that's going to be full of Jude Bellingham chat as well. And again, just keep your eyes open for the channels as well. If anyone does want to join the Discord as well, obviously we'll notify you when we go live or post anything. Discord is in the chat or in the description, down below as well. And again, if anyone is new around here, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button as well, because again, like I said, we are trying to get to a K before the end of the season anyway. And again, we can hopefully do that. It'd be very much appreciated as always anyway. But yeah, guys, hopefully all of you have a fantastic rest of your night anyway. Again, like I said, I will see you all tomorrow at 9 o'clock. But yeah, make sure you check out the shorts as well to listen to Jurgen Klopp's press conference and what he says about the Jude Bellingham scenario as well. But yeah, that's going to be very interesting tomorrow anyway. But I've been Connor from the Cup Council. I will see you all tomorrow. Ta-ra.